What's going on, New York Giant fans? Welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when I live stream off series apps. Appreciate y'all coming back. I'm in a Yankee jersey because I just finished streaming the Yankee game. Check that out. Thank you to the people that came in, new subscribers, stuff like that. I appreciate you guys coming on the train, being with us, supporting the channel, doing all that good stuff. Apologize for being a little monotone at the end. Somebody was in the next room, and sometimes I get shy when, certain people are around. And, with that being said, I didn't know if they were doing something where they didn't want anyone in the background talking. I don't know. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is about three things. I'll talk about the last one, obviously, at the end and all that stuff. The Giants made two signings. They signed Jihad Ward. They signed Matt Breida, and also the possibility of Panthers and all these other teams trading up a couple of spots for the Giants. So with that being said, let me look at Jihad Ward. He obviously has the familiarity factor of playing in Don Martindale's defense. In 2016, he was a second-round pick out of Illinois, selected by the Oakland Raiders. Then they were called Oakland. Now they're called Las Vegas. He was with them for 2 years. Then he was cut. Dallas Cowboys picked him up. Then they dropped him. Was with the Colts from 2018 to 2019. Then with the Ravens from 2019 to 2020. 2021, he was with the 2021, he was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now has obviously signed on to the New York Giants. Let me pull up the same page for someone who's more popular. Matt Breida, however the hell you say his name, was a undrafted free agent out of Georgia Southern in 2017. 2018, 2019 was with the 49ers on their Super Bowl run. Obviously, they didn't win the Super Bowl. We all know what happened. Then with the Dolphins in 2020, Bills in 2021, and then 2022, obviously starting with the New York Giants. So let's go into some stats real quick, talk about them a little bit. Last year for Jacksonville, he played all 17 games, meaning Jihad Ward started 2 sacks, 32 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hits, and a total of 12 quarterback pressures. With Baltimore, he had 3 sacks, 16 combined tackles, and then when he went to Baltimore in 2019 from the Colts, he had 1 sack and 7 combined tackles. And then in Oakland in his second year, he had 1 sack, and then in Indy in 2018, he had 3 sacks. So just something to keep there. In terms of Jihad Ward, it's not going to be a signing that's a mega contract or anything like that. It's going to be a signing where he's part of the rotational pass rush, right? This is something that Don Martindale does. He doesn't get the highest quality pass rushers because he doesn't need to. Anyone who's middle quality, has 3, 4, 5 sacks in that area, gets him in, rushes the passer with those guys, and he's more about quarterback hits and pressures rather than sacks. So that's something you're going to see this upcoming season. Something you'll definitely see in the draft if they don't select a top edge rusher. Maybe at 5, Thibodeau and Hutchinson are gone. Maybe a Giants fan wants Karlaftis, or some of these other guys are coming out, Jermaine Johnson. They select a different guy, maybe a linebacker. That's kind of the reason why, because they don't prioritize high-quality edge rushers in that defense. Yannick Ngakoue was there for a short while. Matt Judon, we obviously know about. A couple other guys as well. So this is just, a veteran signing. He's been around a couple of years now. Will compete. I don't think it's guaranteed that he makes the roster, but a guy to have on the roster is a depth piece, rotational piece, if he does make the roster. Anyway, more importantly, Matt Breida, however you guys call him, obviously mentioned some of his stats, was a big part of the offense in San Francisco for 3 years. People started recognizing him in his rookie year. Then 2018, he had the most yards, 814 yards on the ground, 5.3 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns in 14 games. Then obviously he was a part of the attempted Super Bowl run with Raheem Mostert, some of the other backs in the backfield, 623 yards, 1 touchdown. Then when he got to Miami and Buffalo, he really didn't see much of a starter role. it was either that or they just didn't do well. Like Miami, you could say, okay, they didn't do well. He had 254 yards on 59 rushes, no touchdowns at all, 4.3 yards per carry. That you could say, okay, well, maybe they didn't do well in the rushing game, which they haven't really done well in the rushing game because that offensive line is horrible. They haven't really addressed it too much. Meanwhile, you could say 2021, he just faced a lower role with Brian Dable and that whole offense because it's mainly around Josh Allen, passing like 70% of the time and running it not too much. He did get reps, 26 rushes, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, 4.8 yards per carry, which isn't bad. He played in 9 games. He had 1 fumble, but the 2 backs that were prioritized were Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. So those 2 backs were prioritized. Breida was the 3rd running back. And how do I view this? Obviously, it's definitely a shift in offense to more of an outside zone, wide zone, outside the tackles running, because that's what Breida does. One of the highlights, obviously, some people have seen over the past few years is that 1 touchdown against the Browns where he ran the fastest. I think it was the fastest touchdown in 2019. I think that was outside the tackles. If not, they're going to use him in a lot of different ways. He could be a rotational running back, obviously with Antonio Williams, Gary Brightwell, any other guys they bring in, Saquon Barkley. I don't know that they'll draft a running back. That's going to be one of the questions heading into the draft, and with all the mocks that these content creators, including myself, make. I know they like James Cook out of Georgia, so that's a possibility, but what if he's not there when they want him? Obviously, they have plan B, C, D, E, F, G. But I like the signing of Breida. I know he's had some injury issues in the past, but you're not asking him to play all 16 games or all 17 games because it's either going to be Saquon Barkley or you will stack enough depth on the roster once you trade Saquon Barkley in that scenario where you could say, okay, this guy starts for a couple of games and this guy starts, whatever, we'll do it by committee, but we're mostly going to be focused on the pass. So there's that. I like the Breida signing. Jihad Ward, it's a rotational thing. It's nothing to get too happy about. It's the player he is. It's the type of defense that Martindale has, and it's also just the type of player he prefers. Now, with that being said, the Giants, now that I find out, well, actually now it's changed, $1.6 million in cap space. Once again, obviously that changes with, what's his face? Breida, why am I blanking? Jihad Ward, and also I forgot to mention Jamil Douglas. Now, that's not a big signing. Jamil Douglas has been with a couple of different teams over the past couple of years. He's almost in his 30s, if he's not in his 30s right now. He's 30 years old. His birthday was actually a month ago almost. 4th round pick of the Dolphins out of Arizona State. Was there to 2016. Then went to the Patriots, stayed there for a year. Then with the Falcons in 17, with the Colts in 18. So maybe there's some familiarity there in terms of a practice squad with Bobby Johnson. Then 2018 to 2020 with the Titans. Then 2021 was with the Buffalo Bills for a little bit, so Bobby Johnson, Brian Dable. Then 2021 with the Washington football team, and then with the Giants, obviously, this year. So also another signing, not to get your hopes up about, backup signing, veteran minimum contract. Douglas last year played 4 games, 3 with Washington, 1 with Buffalo. Played 14 games with Tennessee. Obviously, that doesn't mean you're playing actual snaps. It means you're playing some special teams, doing some other stuff as well. Started 5 games with Tennessee in 2019 as their right guard. Was mostly a right guard in Miami when they drafted him. So there's that as well. Obviously, mentioned the floating around the practice squad. So once again, that's not necessarily something to rave about. Anyway, so the original thing that I wanted to get at was this. Was the possibility that the Giants actually trade back? I don't know how many teams are taking quarterbacks in the top 5. The Houston Texans might. The Lions might. Out of that, I think that's pretty much cut and clear. Now, here's the thing as well. Matt Ryan was traded to the Colts. So the Colts, obviously, they're out of the quarterback contention. The Falcons, they recently signed Marcus Mariota to a 2-year deal. Is that their quarterback of the future? I think not. Is it possible that they come in and select a quarterback, trade up, whatever the case may be? Yeah, it's definitely possible. So I think 3 teams right now that could definitely trade up for a quarterback, mostly in the NFC South, the Panthers, the Falcons, and one team I'm missing here. Not the Colts, the Seahawks. The Seahawks is who I was missing. So you got the Panthers, the Seahawks, the Falcons. So 2 types of bird, 1 panther. So the Seahawks are at 9. They could definitely trade up. I mean, a lot of teams may actually use fake rumors as leverage. A lot of smoke screens will come out, definitely. So they could say, oh, well, this team is calling the Giants to trade up for a quarterback. And that's when Seattle will try to call the Giants and say, listen, we're going to wow you with an offer. Please take it. We need a quarterback. So they could trade up to 5, do that, or trade up to 7. Carolina could trade up 1. It seems stupid, but a lot of teams have done that over the past couple of years. And with the Falcons, if they don't believe Marcus Mariota is the future, then what they could do is, okay, they have their spot within the first round. I think it's 8, so it's before the Seahawks. Trade up to 5, get their guy, whatever the case may be. So it's going to be a real interesting draft period in terms of trade-up rumors, all that other stuff. So that's pretty much it. All I have in this video. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops your drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. We have Dead Red on Thursday with Socks. That's going to be on his channel. It's going to be rotating every week like Kid Blue and The Hub do their channel and, you know, their podcast. Boys the Big Apple, Wednesday, Entertainer. A lot of the other Jet fans are coming on. If you guys don't know his name, I think his name is Steven. What they call him on Twitter is New York Sack Exchange. He hosts a lot of good Twitter spaces with George Fant and some of these other Jets cats that go on there as well. And Donald Stewart's coming back on. We're going to have a lot of fun on Wednesday. That's eventually going to move back to Mondays because I want to do a lot of live Twin Bill episodes, especially this season. So there's that. I think that's pretty much it. Also, Twin Bill, NYY News TV, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.